Get ready for the biggest story shaking up the Korean economy. We start with the intense final showdown between Samsung Electronics Co. and its union. Chairman Park Suk-yoon of the National Labor Relations Commission has confirmed that post-mediation talks will continue right up until May 19th, setting the stage for a critical decision before a potential walkout on May 21st. We dive into the details of this high-stakes negotiation and what could happen next. The company up to 31 trillion won in operating profit, and the potential damage to the broader economy is staggering. We examine the massive financial risks involved and whether the government's intervention is enough to defuse this massive industrial action before it impacts global chip supply chains. Finally, we look at the broader context of this corporate battle. Staff reporter at Channel YouTube's national desk, who has deep experience in military strategy and international cooperation, is providing crucial insight into the national security and foreign policy implications surrounding this major industrial dispute. Don't miss the full breakdown of the Samsung strike crisis and what it means for the future of South Korea. Stay with us for the complete report. Samsung Electronics and its union are engaged in a crucial second round of labor mediation at South Korea's National Labor Relations Commission, with talks scheduled to continue until May 19 ahead of a planned general strike by the union on May 21. This session represents a final attempt to reach an agreement before the walkout. Park Suk-yoon, chairman of the National Labor Relations Commission, confirmed on May 18 that post-mediation discussions would run through May 19, noting that only basic positions have been heard so far, and both sides are expected to present proposals later that day. The mediation session was scheduled to conclude at 7 p.m. on May 18 and resume at 10 a.m. on May 19. This follow-up round comes after the initial mediation period, which took place over 2 days on May 11 and May 12, concluded without an agreement. The commission chairman is personally leading the mediation at the request of both parties, suggesting a strong effort to secure a resolution. Despite preparatory meetings held over the weekend, significant disagreements persist between management and the union, specifically concerning issues such as greater transparency in performance bonuses, the removal of bonus caps, and the institutionalization of the bonus system. While no formal deadline has been set for this second round, the 3-day countdown to the union's strike makes the mediation outcome pivotal in determining whether the walkout will proceed. Furthermore, the government has indicated its potential to invoke emergency arbitration powers to avert the strike, a move that has been strongly opposed by labor groups, including the Samsung Electronics Union. South Korean President Lee Jae-myung has called for mutual respect for labor and management rights as an 18-day strike looms at Samsung Electronics, where approximately 47,000 workers are poised to act. Lee emphasized that both labor and corporate management rights must be respected equally, warning that extremes lead to reversal. This statement comes as the government urges both the union and Samsung management to reach a deal before the strike is set to begin on May 21. The union's key demands revolve around Samsung's performance-based bonus system, seeking bonuses equivalent to 15% of operating profit, the removal of bonus payout caps, and a formalized bonus structure. In response, Samsung management has proposed allocating 10% of operating profit to bonuses and offering a one-time special compensation package. Market reaction saw Samsung Electronics shares jump by as much as 6.65% on Monday, before settling near 3%. Adding to the pressure, South Korean Prime Minister Kim Min-seok reportedly indicated that the government is prepared to explore all response measures, including emergency adjustments, if the strike causes significant damage. Under South Korean law, the labor minister can invoke such an adjustment to suspend industrial action for up to 30 days if the dispute threatens the economy or daily life. The prime minister estimated direct losses from the strike could reach $1 trillion, $664.7 million, potentially escalating to $100 trillion if chip production disruptions force the scrapping of semiconductor wafers. Despite the high stakes, the workers' union disputed the projected impact, citing previous production pauses for necessary maintenance and inspections, and claimed the government failed to adequately review their rebuttal materials. The union estimates the 18-day strike could cost Samsung around $30 trillion, or $20 billion. Samsung Electronics is a cornerstone of the South Korean economy, accounting for 22.8% of exports and 26% of its market capitalization, and its revenue contributes 12.5% to the nation's GDP. Analysts have also flagged concentration risks in the South Korean stock market due to over-reliance on a few major firms, increasing vulnerability to geopolitical shocks. These developments follow warnings from Finance Minister Koo Yoon-cheol, who stressed that strikes must never occur, highlighting Samsung's global importance. Furthermore, Samsung Chairman Lee Yi-young recently issued a public apology to international customers for causing worry and anxiety. The final round of negotiations between the union and management was scheduled for Monday, marking a critical juncture for the company and the national economy. Samsung shares experienced a significant decline, falling as much as 9.3%, following a breakdown in labor negotiations and the imminent threat of a major strike. The conflict involves Samsung's largest union, representing over 45,000 workers, which is demanding a 15% operating profit bonus pool and the removal of a 50% salary cap. This labor dispute is set to escalate with a planned 18-day strike beginning May 21. The market reacted negatively to the uncertainty, with J.P. Morgan warning that the strike could reduce operating profit by 21 to 31 trillion won and sales by approximately 4.5 trillion won. Analysts caution that even a single day of semiconductor downtime could result in direct losses of 1 trillion won, with potential systemic damage reaching 100 trillion won. Despite the stock slump, Samsung had recently reported a record first-quarter operating profit of 57.2 trillion won, largely fueled by the AI-driven memory chip boom, with the chip division alone generating 53.7 trillion won. Furthermore, the company is advancing its product line by selling HBM4 chips to NVIDIA, signaling strong future demand in the AI sector. In response to the escalating risk, the South Korean government intervened forcefully, announcing it would pursue all options, including emergency arbitration, to prevent industrial action. This measure, which would temporarily bar industrial action for 30 days while mediation occurs, underscores the government's view of the dispute as a major economic risk, given Samsung's pivotal role in the South Korean economy, accounting for 22.8% of exports and 26% of the domestic stock market. Market sentiment is currently mixed. While the government's involvement and the resumption of government-mediated pay talks have offered some reassurance, the strike clock remains active toward May 21. The immediate concern for investors is whether these measures are sufficient to diffuse the crisis before it impacts production, exports, and broader market sentiment. The labor dispute is thus colliding with a period of exceptional financial strength for the company. As the specter of a Samsung strike hangs over the industry, Lee has issued a firm statement emphasizing the necessity of respecting corporate rights. This development signals heightened tensions within the corporate landscape. The statement underscores a critical juncture for South Korean business interests. Lee, a staff reporter at Channel YouTube's national desk in Seoul, brings a unique background to this reporting. His focus encompasses South Korea's national security and foreign policy, with specialized coverage of the defense, foreign and unification ministries, and the National Assembly. Prior to entering journalism, Lee served as an Air Force officer, bringing a strong military perspective to his analysis. His professional experience is extensive, including providing translation and interpretation services, as well as offering strategic input for planning efforts at the ROKUS Combined Forces Command. During his 3 years of military service, he actively participated in 6 major South Korea-US combined exercises, lending credibility to his insights on complex geopolitical and industrial matters.